Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Holistic Astrology podcast from Bhagyashree Holistic Astrology. Today, we are going to talk about one very important conjunction, a very important, let's say, planetary energy exchange that is scaring people like anything. However, if you ask me, there is nothing to be scared about at all. Still, considering the nature of the planets involved, everybody is feeling a bit jittery. So I'm here to discuss this whole thing in detail so that it does not bother you. I have discussed this lightly in my previous episode where I talked about Mars transit into Aquarius. So I tried to help you out in figuring things out. But since you've been feeling a bit confused and a bit scared, I want to talk about this in great detail. So let's start. Let's talk about the Mars-Saturn conjunction. The chatter around this conjunction this month, it's amazing because we have almost become blinded by negativity. We feel as if there is some dark cloud of bad influence that's going to make everything fall apart. And I've never seen an entire community be so fired about something that they find so negative. So let's discuss this conjunction and what it really means for us. I want all of us to be very objective. There's no point in leaving rationality behind completely, even though Mercury is debilitated. We want to be as rational as possible, right? So before we understand what this whole conjunction means, let's first understand the activity in the sky. Right now, Saturn and Mars are occupying the same sign of Aquarius in the sky. There is also Venus in the mix. So as you already know, Aquarius is the Mool Trikona sign of Saturn, which means Saturn is unusually powerful when in Aquarius, and this is where he gains a lot more power than usual. Also, he's sitting here with his best friend Venus. So Venus, while he's here, he'll kind of support Saturn in his pursuits because they're very close to each other and they don't really leave each other's side when given a chance. Now, these two best friends are together and then Mars enters the equation. Mars has recently been in Capricorn where he was exalted. So he got whatever he wanted. He received the reward for his actions. Now when he comes to Aquarius, he wants to go and reach new heights. He wants to get new things done. So while Saturn is already in his own sign and Mool Trikona and sitting with his bestie, Mars just comes here and barges in. So now let's understand the basics of Saturn and Mars. Both are tamasic planets. Both are malefic planets, which means their nature is malefic. They will give you challenges, they will give you obstacles, and you will have to go through them to grow through them. There is absolutely no other way in which you can make things happen. However, simply because they both are tamasic and simply because they both are malefics doesn't make them great friends. In fact, you will see that Venus is a great benefic all through, and Saturn is a great malefic, but still they are very good friends. But this does not happen in the case of Saturn and Mars. They are both malefic, but they don't really like each other as such. Mars doesn't even like to consider Saturn. He's very neutral. He doesn't care about Saturn. He is not interested in the rules and laws and moral codes that Saturn brings. He simply wants to get his own thing done. He wants to go ahead and make things happen. He's aggressive, he's assertive, and he's also very quick. And then there is Saturn, who doesn't really like Mars much. He wants everyone to follow rules and regulations. Saturn is slower, he's older, and he's more cautious. So now you know that despite both being malefics, Saturn and Mars are not the best of friends. They don't really have the same way of operating. They have different speeds and different styles of functioning. Now when Mars and Saturn are coming together, people call it a massive malefic influence that will ruin everything. But that is not the case at all. Sure, there will be problems, I can't deny that. The first problem is that Mars is feeling very powerful and he'll make a lot of people feel agitated and uncomfortable. If you're born in Mars signs, that is Aries or Scorpio, or any of the Mars nakshatras, you may have already started to feel that there is a lot more energy in your body. Your mind is more energized and now you're willing to get more things done. The problem is not that you're going crazy. The problem is that you have excessive energy. And of course, not all of us can handle excessive energy. So let's say you feel a sort of restlessness physically. and you don't do anything about it, you may end up being very angry and you may fight with people, break a few things and all. But if you are doing some physical exercise, that energy may be used up and then you'll be back to normal. Simple. Now, unless you are either extremely stupid, who gets carried away by whatever people say, and you just can't use your own brain, and people just have to say one thing to you and you get extremely agitated because of what people say. You have zero control over your emotions. Or if you are inherently malefic by nature, in both these cases, you can, the worst of your traits will come out. But regular people can get rid of all their excessive energy and extra aggression with this simple trick. You have anger, exercise, go for a walk, diffuse that energy. Physical work will be better because Mars is a physical energy. You can engage in mental activity as well, but I would suggest some sort of physical activity. Anything physical is okay, right? Go and clean your room, dust, the sofas, or go for a walk, go for a jog, whatever it is that suits you, just do it. Note that Mercury is debilitated, so the use of rational logic will be subdued. Saturn, who's feeling threatened by Mars, is being supported by Venus. So that way he will remain happier. Plus, he's also coming out of combustion on 26th of March. So, he'll gain his energies. So what happens on an individual scale? And this is, the whole gist of what you may experience. Excessive energy. Malefic people will become more powerful. They'll be like, wow, I finally got my chance. But in general, most people will be feeling some sort of energy build up, especially if they're born in Mars signs and nakshatras, and if they can do any sort of physical exercise, that can be gotten rid of. It's as simple as that. Don't expect that the whole world is going to go crazy simply because Mars is meeting Saturn. So we talked about the individual scale, but what is happening on the world scale? This is where things really get interesting, because Aquarius is not an individualistic sign. Aquarius is the sign of the world, the universe. So the effects that are going to happen universally are going to be a lot more important than what is going to happen to you individually. I've told you repeatedly that new movements will be born. New people's movements will be born. They will want to be very expressive. They would want to be very aggressive. But when Saturn comes in, he will come up with his rules and he will try to contain them a lot. So the more aggressive the movement, the more it will be contained. The more Mars tries to exert itself, the more Saturn will be implementing or imposing his rules. However, if the movement is peaceful and beautiful, it will be supported. So if you are anti something, you may not be supported. But if you are for something, you will be supported. You will see governments, large institutions, they are now restraining activity to a large extent. You might see a lot of new anti-bullying or anti-harassment things coming up in the summer because large companies, or let's say governments, do not want people to be harassed, do not want people to go through an unpleasant experience when they are online. So things like that may happen. Not everything will be allowed to flourish. Not everyone will be allowed to speak. Not everything will come to the surface because the enforcements of rules and regulations will be rather heavy. So the more antagonistic you are towards these rules, the worse it will be. You will see new rules and many strict rules now being applied in terms of public activity specifically. People may now be more careful about speaking out. They could be, as I said, laws against harassment and bullying. Sometimes the governments might even feel like they need to crack down on new technology. So you will see a lot of things getting blocked and banned. Not only this, people in the public sphere who have been very vocal, very aggressive about something, they may really have to tone it down a bit because they might face legal consequences. You will come across a lot of younger leaders trying to displace older leaders, new institutions, or let's say new people, a new crop, a new line of leadership coming in, challenging the old leadership, the new guard challenging the old guard. And this might not fare too well for the new ones because they might not be entirely prepared for this. but still they'll be able to make an impact because the new ones will be supported by Mars. So Mars always makes an impact regardless of the consequences. So Saturn will be trying to curb and impose his rules and regulations, and he might be successful to a great extent. But as time passes on, Saturn's influence will be reduced and new movements will definitely be born. I'll talk about this in my New Year video because New Year is on 9th of April. So we'll be discussing everything about the new Indian New Year and what it means for us and how planetary movements play out. This is going to be a very interesting year. So that does not sound very good, right? You might believe that governments are going to go crazy or organizations are going to go crazy. Nothing like it, to be honest. It's not like you will be affected that much in your daily life. As I said, if you're extremely malefic by nature, of course you'll be affected. But generally, people may not feel the effects of Mars and Saturn coming together unless their governments or their companies go bonkers. So, to be very honest, this is the moment where we learn the art of keeping quiet, not engaging in unnecessary fights, and not believing that we are somehow more powerful than we are. It's going to be a very humbling experience for all of us, especially people, who are new to a space and who simply want to come and overthrow everything that has been standing for a very long time. People who are anti-tradition. I'm not saying tradition is always good, but right now, considering the planetary positions, people who are anti-tradition might come and they might want to overthrow everything. But they need to know that not everything can be done in one full blow. Something that has been standing there and handling all the elements for so many long years cannot be overthrown in one single sweep. But you'll have to use your Martian energy and you will have to come back and keep trying. Because trying is what will get you there. Otherwise, if you get humbled right now and you don't try again, probably you'll never try again. So you will have to find the power. But first you need to humble yourself. And you need to realize that your ego is an illusion. And you don't really need to look at that illusion. So guys, hope it helps. Don't be scared. The world is as is. Okay. The world is crazy, has always been, will continue to be. You just take care of yourself. Take care of your family members. Remove their fears and let them know what is going to happen objectively and who could be more affected because of this transit objectively. Okay. Of course, the most effects will be on Aquarians. So if you're an Aquarian, if you know somebody who's an Aquarian, you must know that they are going through a very, I won't say difficult, but a very unique time in their life where they have to decide how they'll be able to move forward in life by doing something right now, or how they'll be able to go ahead and reach a large goal or a large objective by doing something small right now. So there is a very old saying, how do you eat an elephant? Like, there's an elephant, right? How do you eat an elephant? Piece by piece, obviously. So that's the motto. No matter who you are, specifically if you're an Aquarian, you eat this elephant piece by piece. Take one small step at a time. Be very strategic. Learn how to change your strategies and tactics quickly, and learn how to respond to the changing times instead of fighting yourself. If you do that, you'll come out victorious. And Mars and Saturn, instead of punishing you, will end up rewarding you. And trust me, when they reward really well. So thank you so much for being here, guys. And God bless you. Have a great life.